Hey everyone, thanks for joining Cindy and I. It's another Wednesday night, and tonight we're going to share about how do you travel when you can't? And I feel like we've kind of been doing that a little for many reasons.
Yeah, I mean, because we've been
Hey
not
everyone.
able to travel for a long time, and now things are, coming back and we're getting out there. But you can't, unfortunately, we can't travel all the time. I mean, there are people that are digital nomads and they're doing things, right? But even that is still, there's still downtime. So you're not always out seeing the sights and you're not always on that high, right, of travel,
Right,
right?
yeah.
So, what are some of the ways? And I mean, let's just kind of walk through the few things. The first one that everyone knows probably is read a book. Like you can be shipped away into another time and a place by reading something that takes you to a different destination. There's lots of great books out there. What have you got that you've read that you love?
Well, even besides books, reading can be like just going and flipping through a travel magazine. And, it doesn't
Yes.
even, you don't even have to like have a subscription, go to the thrift store. There's probably tons of travel
The
magazines at
library.
the library where you can
Mhm.
just find a nice quiet place. And oftentimes it's just fun to go look at all the great pictures. And that's oftentimes, just
It's enough.
it's enough. I'll grab a coffee and go hang out at Barnes and Noble or one of the local coffee shops and just pull the books off the shelf. And whether it's a travel guide or a travel
Yeah,
magazine, or they'll have travel fiction where you're right, you can transport to a different era. You can just
so much cool
so
stuff
much
out
cool
there.
stuff.
Yeah,
And you have a travel book club, so
I
I know you're
do.
always reading some great stuff, Cindy.
Yeah, we do it every month, and I posted it in the Travel Collective so we can all share that way. And I mean, we read everything. Sometimes the book, I know the a couple of times I'll get asked, why that book? That's not a travel book because they're not all like wild, like Cheryl Strayed's Wild,
Yeah.
or some of them are like that where somebody's actually going on a journey or taking a long trip, but some of them are more about a destination. I mean, we read, I think it's called The Convenience Store Woman, which is a Japanese
Oh,
book that was translated to English. It was the first one we read like that. We're interested in like the culture and learning about a different place and a different time. So we read all kinds of things, and I take recommendations from the group and we just sort of mix it up and find different places. And something I know last year we read a number of books on food. Um,
oh, that's right.
so we
Yeah.
read Eating Vietnam, which was a fantastic book, and we read The Movable Feast, which is Hemingway, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, we just read all kinds of books that we could come up with about food. Right now, I'm reading Frances May from the Under the Tuscan Sun. She has a book
Oh, yeah,
called Meet Me
Chip.
in the Piazza.
Oh, that's a new one then.
Yeah, it's relatively new and it's really like a guide to Italy. Like I wish I had my notepad out the whole time I'm reading it. I may have to just go back and reread it because it's like all these places that the little villages she's going to and the food that she's eating and the people that she's meeting. It's like, oh, I want to go there and I want to go there.
Yeah,
Find all these
that's
things. Yeah.
there's a lot of books like that. I mean, I always refer back sometimes to Charles Kuralt's America, and
Uh-huh.
he took a month and went to like one of the places was Ketchikan, Alaska, and what month he went there. And again, it's like he's talking about what locals he met or
Ah,
what he did, and it's just that tie-in of like the place, what time of year, what he experienced, what it felt like, and so
mhm.
it's fun to just revisit that place or go to a place that I've never like I haven't been actually to that place in Alaska. So
Yeah, we read a book about Bhutan, and I had never thought to go there, but now I'm like, maybe I want to go there. It's fun to find places and hear about other people's travels, and it's cool to read about places that maybe you wouldn't get to go, like places either that have changed over time and now you can't travel to, or maybe it's out of reach for you, so that's not something you're going to do, but you can pick up a book or pick up a magazine and even read about an article. Sometimes I get, caught up in a on a topic and I'll go
right.
down a rabbit hole of like, well, where is this? And what does this look like? And what if I went there? And, there's all these questions about
Yeah,
it. So
exactly.
reading is one. And then, of course, goes with that is movies, right?
Oh my gosh, movies is great. Yeah, and you can watch there's new movies like, oftentimes even I know people come to me and they're like, "Oh, I just saw this Hallmark movie and I don't know where it was filmed." And so sometimes you're like Googling, going down the
Yes.
rabbit hole because I saw some like amazing location and you're like, oh, well, that was filmed in, some little town
South
in,
Carolina.
yeah, South Carolina, and you can go there and you can stay there. So,
Yeah. There's all kinds of like travel focused movies, but there's also movies that are just set in beautiful places. I think we talked about this topic one time, and one of the gentlemen said, I just like to watch the Bond movies. And I was like,
oh, yeah, that's
yes, because they are all set in these like spectacular locations. It's another one of those I
yeah,
can
you're
just put it
right.
on TV and just like I turn the sound off, I just watch the pretty pictures go by.
Yeah, exactly, because they're filming it in such amazing places. Well, I think we also mentioned that Walter Mitty movie
Yes,
and the
th-
footage of like Iceland is just incredible. I
it
mean, just
is stunning.
amazing, stunning.
And in some of those things, you don't even think, like I said, would I ever be able to go there? Can I see this kind of thing? Like, how does that work? And it gets you excited about travel. And also just, if they're actually traveling or taking a journey, if you've watched Cheryl State, the Wild movie, or I think there's another one called The Way Back, I think it is.
Yeah, there was the one with the father and the son walking or
The Way,
something.
yes.
Yeah.
And then there's we read the book, and then there's the movie Tracks, which is she's in, I think, Australia training camels, which is like fascinating in the 1970s. And so, just like, oh, these are such, you don't think about doing those things. Like they're probably are things you maybe never would do, but you
Yeah.
read about it.
I know, and that's what's fabulous. Like, right, you might not want to go to some of the places, like,
Right,
they're walking the wall of China or something, or
right.
trekking across Mongolia. Honestly, you might be like, I don't know if I could
Not
do
me.
that, not me. But to see it in
But
a movie is like perfect. You can put yourself there and imagine yourself on the wild adventure and get
yeah.
to enjoy it from the comfort of your home with some snacks. It's great.
And pick where you want to go. And then let's see, what was the other? We made a couple of other comments. What were some of the other?
Traveling in your hometown.
Oh yeah. I I think more people should do this.
I think so too. And oftentimes, even if you don't live, LA, it is so big. There is
Sure.
so many pockets. So granted, there are more ways to discover LA than maybe if you live in a place like the Midwest, but maybe just 30 miles down the road, they're having a little festival, or maybe, oftentimes it's like, oh, I'll get there someday. I'll go visit that
Right.
presidential birthplace. But why not just go and check it out? And
Yep.
even if it's a new little restaurant, or find out when they have a farmer's market. So,
Yeah. And I do think that most towns have, even the smallest little place will have sort of like civic tours,
yeah,
right? You can
right.
tour City Hall, or you can kind of wander through the courthouse in a major city, even in the Midwest, right? They have big cities
Yeah.
that have courthouses, and those things are fascinating. Learning about your own community a little bit, maybe checking out what kind of tours like the kids are taking, right? I mean, when I was
Yeah.
a kid, there were all kinds of factories. We both grew up in the Midwest, and there were all kinds of factories and places, and those places offered tours for kids. And you can go, they offer other tours, or you can even ask for your own tour. Like, hey, I just like to wander around. Most of those places will open up and let you see how the bread is made, or
Right.
what's going on. But I
Or a
find,
lot of those towns too will have like maybe a lot of them have developed like a little history walking tour. And
yes,
sometimes you just have to go to the city or the public library and ask, and maybe they have like a little brochure, and just make that your activity. You might really realize something new, that someone, that's where John Wayne was born, or this was, was a scene in, who knows? You don't know until you go
and
investigate.
some weird piece of history that you didn't know
Right.
about, right? Yeah. And I think that, it's great to, I say this for people who are trying to learn to travel alone, is to do some traveling locally, right? So just go by yourself, take a tour right in your hometown, and you'll get to see how you feel about it, and practicing how you do that. Everything from public transportation to just walking the city streets by
Yeah.
yourself, as well as following a tour guide by yourself. Just like put yourself out there. You're closer to your comfort zone here in your neighborhood. You speak the language, all of those things will be easier, but you'll get to kind of practice it before you do it in a foreign country, which I think is a great way to start to stretch your legs before you go and travel on your own. So touring your hometown by far is one of the greatest things to do, both for you, to know your community, but also for your confidence,
Right. Oh,
for
yeah,
travel
definitely.
confidence, right?
Travel confidence, it's great. Or even to try out, sometimes there's like, if you're not sure you want to join a group, sometimes they
Mhm.
have a group that you can get on a bus and do a day tour or something. Then you can decide, like, is this
Do I
something
like
for
this?
me? Do I like this or not without investing a whole bunch of money maybe on taking a longer trip.
Right. And get yourself out there and find out. So touring your hometown, and we'd love to hear. We should do some more things about that. People live in such unique places that are not on the map of tours, right? And people, when I know when we've talked about this topic before, and I'm going to put it on a coffee chat again because I think
Yes, we
it's a good
should.
coffee
They
chat.
come up with really great places that you could make a whole weekend or 3 or 4 day tour on just to go to that place and
You had no idea that
enjoy.
that was there, right?
Right, exactly.
So,
I think
um,
we put YouTube videos on there, which it kind of
yes,
ties into movies, but YouTube now, I mean, you literally, if you look at Paris or you look at Portugal, you can take a walking, I mean, literally they're walking you through the
yes.
streets. I remember, wasn't it Charlene and
Ulrich, who did, they did walk us through Barcelona, right?
yeah, that was fun.
And we did Edinburgh. We walked through there. We have that on. And but I mean, I'm in the middle of planning and doing research for the Iceland tour. And I mean, I just wanted to see like what was the tour like on this island we were going to take. And there's a whole, it's like a 20-minute thing walking me through every step of the way, telling me what the boat looks like. So it's as if I'm going,
Yeah.
right? There's so many videos where you can actually virtually kind of take the tour on YouTube. And it's a great thing, again, back to like practicing before you go. I know we've talked about that. If you're going to take public transportation, you can find videos that show you how to do it. You're going to walk down that street, you could probably find somebody who will walk you down that street or
Yeah,
tour the castle or, right?
or learning how, like, if you haven't been into an airport, if it's your
Yeah,
first time going to an international airport, it's great. You can literally see, like, how do I get down to the street level,
yeah.
or how do I get to the train? I mean, it sounds like the train's easy, but you gain confidence by taking
Watching them.
away by watching it. I mean, watch it a few times, and it makes you feel confident. Like, okay, I need to look for that, go right, go left.
And if you see it, then you'll feel more familiar when you actually physically, oh, this looks familiar. I know what I'm
Yeah.
doing now. I'm in the right spot. All of those kinds of things. And also kind of takes away the mystery a little bit. So you're not intimidated by it. So YouTube videos are fantastic. We have a YouTube channel where you can see some of that, but there's way more than
Oh
we
my
can
gosh.
possibly offer.
Right,
There are places
exactly.
that we use it ourselves. It's a tool that we use all the time, both for planning and researching. So definitely something you want to look into. And then, oh, you were talking about like one of the other ways is to revisit your travel memories. And I think, I mean, we all do this. I'll get on looking at a photo and then I'm like
Yeah.
photo scrolling.
Yeah, exactly. And oftentimes, when you're taking the trip, I often tell people this, I take a lot of photos and it's like easy. It's like sometimes I think, oh, I'll look at those later. And it's like you get busy with life when you get back. So you just put them all aside. But then when you hit a quiet period, like oftentimes I think after the holidays, January is kind of slow and you're like, not,
Right,
if, you and I both grew up in the Midwest, it was cold, it was
right.
dark, can't go outside as often. That's the perfect time to like pull out your old pictures and kind of go through them and look at them and revisit those memories. And maybe you didn't get a
Mhm.
chance to make notes of where it was, write some things down or even
Yeah,
create with those. I mean, it's
yeah.
so easy now to go on, all these different photo sites, go to Shutterfly, I think Shutterfly,
Should
MPix,
apply.
there's so many
Yeah,
of
and I think
them.
Vistaprint, like all of them do something. And I've created like memento books for my,
Yeah.
either travelers that have gone with me on tours or even like when I took my kids to Costa Rica, we came back, I made a little book with lots
Yeah.
of stuff in it, and everybody got a book because they, they're all living their own lives somewhere, but they have a cute little Costa Rica book about that, memory of a place that we went. So you can do that, or you can just like, let's do all of the places I've been in the last 2 years,
Yeah. Or even
create a
just
little
create, I
coffee
know
table
it's
book for yourself.
pretty inexpensive too. Oftentimes they have deals where you can get the 4x6 pictures for like
Yeah.
next to pennies, and then go to Michael's or a craft store, they have the cardstock, and just
Yeah.
take
Make
an
your own.
afternoon and make a bunch of your own note cards. It's nice to mail them out. Put
Yes.
them on your bulletin board so you can look at them. It's nice to like, because sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm not going anywhere. I can't go. There's
Yes.
multiple things happening. But then to revisit, it's nice to bring up those memories and go, oh, but I did go and do that. It was a great trip. And
Right, right. It is definitely a good idea to put those things up. I know I had on my desk when I was at work, I would have my photos and I change them up every once in a while.
yeah,
And they weren't really anything special. Like sometimes I have a couple photos of like my feet. I like to take my pictures of my feet in my shoes, but it's like there, it's on the grass or it's in the dirt or it's because I know where I was standing when I took that picture. So it has just like a little memory for me. And
yeah.
people would walk by and go, "What is this picture?" I'm like, "It means something to me."
Yeah, exactly. It's like your little secret.
It's
Like
like my
I
little, like, yeah, just like when I see it, I remember that moment or that day or that whatever. And I love that. And those, like you said, just going flipping through those can help you kind of feel like you transported back in time. There's
right.
lots of ways. We should do a little, maybe before Christmas, we could talk about how to do the cards. That might be a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's fun. Or making the book, how
Yeah.
easy ways to do it. It makes a great keepsake. And even the cards are nice. Like I know when I worked in my office too, it's like I had a little space in my
Uh-huh.
cubicle, but I had different pictures, and sometimes you feel like, oh, I can't go anywhere, I don't have the vacation time, but then to look at the places, it kind of transports you away from the desk.
It does. It makes you remember that life is more than this, little cubby hole that I'm living in
Right.
right now. And then the last thing we had was to join a travel community, and there are tons of them out there. We heard about new ones talking to Barb the other day,
Yeah.
and there's lots of ways that people who love to travel want to talk to other people who love to travel.
Right. And I know both of you, Cindy and I, talk about our meetup communities. Meetup started several years ago. It's a great
Yeah.
way. Travel's a big part of that. You can find a group in your community and they're getting together even in person or virtually if you don't feel comfortable, or for many reasons, a Saturday morning, you
Too
don't want to
far
get
away.
too
Yeah.
far away. LA, it's like, I get it. You don't want to park
Traffic.
or drive or, just join via your computer and you can share experiences. You can actually
Yes.
share, because oftentimes we feel like we don't have a way to
Put
share
it
our
out there.
travels and talk about it and get inspired.
Yeah, so there's lots of different ways to join those communities. And there's also like we have the Travel Collective Facebook community. Sometimes just getting down there and watching other people's photos and
Right, or ask
their
a
travel.
question or
Yeah,
post your photo and see what response you get. Let people guess where it was. I mean, it's a
yeah.
great way to get interaction when you can't go and just meet other travelers.
And we definitely see that people are connecting that way, both through Meetup, through the Facebook communities. We watch travelers meet each other for the very first time. Some of them actually go off and do things together. So it is absolutely works and connects. It doesn't work for everyone every time, but there are ways to do it. So it's a lot of fun. So I think we covered everything,
Yeah,
right?
I
All
think we
of our
did. Right.
travel when you're not traveling.
Yeah, and we with the Travel Collective too, we have lots of these events. Just go to the-travelcollective.com/events, and there's lots of virtual opportunities to pop on and either just talk on a Saturday or listen to others, get some inspiration, get some tidbits.
Yeah.
Even in the United States, maybe find someone that's been somewhere different to get
Yeah.
inspired.
Feed that travel bug. We all have it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you for listening, and we'll